I loved playing Dungeons & Dragons as a kid. I've created a new online game called Depths and Dragons that attempts to recreate that childhood experience using an AI dungeon master. The AI manages the story and all the bookkeeping. It is asynchronous. Players can post actions and messages whenever they want. They don't need to wait for their turn. The game has character sheets, a dungeon map, AI generated images, and scenarios that end in victory or defeat. Let's configure a new game. You pick a scenario. There's a few like the Forge of Fury, Crypt of the Ember King. You set your name. You set your race, your class, your gender, and then that's what you look like, number of players, human players, and then create the game. Now we need to wait for the other human player. Once the other human player joins, the game will start. The opening scene for a given scenario is always the same, but it diverges after that. Every run-through of the same scenario can be very different depending on what the players do. Players post speech, actions, or out-of-character questions at any time. You can split your party by saying something like, "Barry goes east," separate from the rest of the party. Later, the separated party members can regroup if they return to a designated location and wait. It's possible to pause a game for up to 2 weeks and then resume it later. Every beat runs through a structured pipeline. The AI plans roles and movement, writes the narrative, then returns a structured response for bookkeeping and sheet synchronization. Rules come from the D&D 5e reference document and are pulled in with RAG each turn. RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation, is an AI technique that grounds the LLM in the 5e rule system. The game master shows generated images in the upper right as you explore. Below that, there is a parchment-style map that shows where your players are relative to the environment. Scrolling down a bit, you can see navigation directions from the map, who's in your group right now, like you can split up and come back as I mentioned. And then there's tabbed character sheets that allow you to see who's in your party and their picture. And finally, below that, there are objectives which you discover and then attempt to accomplish. There's an epilogue that shows at the end of the game whether you win or lose. Let's start playing and see how it works. I'll say enter the citadel through the arch. And then the DM thinks and responds with, Barry pulls her robes tight and steps through the wind toward the blackened arch. Once inside, look around. Glacial walls to the east and west are solid, no side passages. Let's try going south. Descend the stairs to the bottom. I headed south. I better tell Fifi to catch up. Okay, Fifi joins. Okay, they're both joined up at the bottom again. And we can see from the map navigation directions that north and south are options. Let's try going south into the frost-crusted stairs. That brings us to a new room. Get some new text. Anyway, you can see how this progresses and you're free to explore however you want. Later on, after exploring a bit more, we've encountered some zombies, and you can see that there's automatic dice rolls that happen for the characters and for the zombies at the bottom of the screen. If you've been looking for a way to play a D&D style adventure without wrangling schedules or finding a human dungeon master, try this. The game link is in the description.